Well, it is Thanksgiving evening, Thursday the 28th of November, in the year of our universe on Earth, 2024. I just aligned and synchronized the scope to Zarek, and now we're seeing where it lands when we go to Messier 33. The core, it's a little bit off. I think I'm going to center it. The sky didn't look very promising during the day. High, thin clouds, some reflected light. But when I stepped out at 9 o'clock, I got motivated to go ahead and see if we can proceed with the NGC, in this case, 1049 to 1099, because I want to see if we can turn up that deep south globular cluster in I think it wasn't an Eridanus. No, I think it was a little bit north of the southern part of Eridanus. So I'll give you more data on that later. But anyway, hopefully you've all had an opportunity to really appreciate Thanksgiving and all the great things that Mother Nature provides, as well as the services other human beings do to make life in the year of our Lord 2024 virtuous and worthwhile. So let me center up the core of Messier 33, and then maybe we'll have a look at 76 as well, because it's a nice spiral galaxy, and on a good night we should be able to make out the spiral arms. But frankly, we're not getting a particularly good view of Messier 33 as far as I can tell. However, I may push ahead anyway and capture what I can in the NGC series this evening, because I won't have too many more opportunities, though it's 3 days before the new moon. So let's move on. Those of you who watched last night's video on the 1000 to 1049 series noticed that the screen was blank when turning towards this globular cluster and Fornax, NGC 1049, and the reason was because we had to equatorially flip the scope, and when I did so, the power connection to the Revolution 2 imaging system failed, and due to the disconnection of the power cable. Now, we are looking now deep south. I'll give you the coordinates and the data. NGC 1049 is a globular cluster in Fornax, magnitude 12.6. It's 1.2 by 1.2 arc minutes in size, but according to the database in the Gemini 2 system, it is 4,6,0,0,0 light years distant. Now, this might very well, this looks like our cluster. It looks quite a bit brighter than I expected. I just centered up on the core of Triangulum Galaxy, which was right about here on the screen, but going deep south, we ended up there. I am seriously impressed if that is actually the globular cluster, because this baby is minus 34 degrees, 15 minutes and 28 seconds in declination. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 39 minutes and 48 seconds. I am very surprised. The cluster is 1.2 by 1.2 arc minutes, which means it probably has an average surface brightness of about magnitude 13, and that looks pretty reasonable, but when I went and looked up an image on the sky live, it didn't look nearly as bright as that. However, it might also be this fainty right here, which would be more reasonable. Anyway, we're now going to push on to the NGC 1050 to 1099 series for this evening's observations. Let us proceed. All right, here we should be seeing NGC 1050. It's a galaxy in Perseus, and I was a little concerned we weren't going to get much of the aperture of the scope on it, if any at all. However, it's at plus 34 degrees, 45 minutes and 47 seconds. which, if you add it to where we just were at 1049, is 70 degrees of sky we have moved north. However, our right ascension is pretty close to the Fornax cluster, 2 hours, 42 minutes, and 35 seconds. NGC 1050's Galaxy and Perseus, magnitude 12.6, 1.4 by 1.1 arc minute, spiral with a bar in lowercase a, some 176 million light years distant, meaning it's about 65,000 light years in diameter. I've given you the right ascension and declination, and let's hope we got a good view of it on the screen. It's not in a good viewing position for me, but maybe on the mañana I will be able to pick it out. NGC 1051 is a Galaxy in Cetus. It's also NGC 961, so we should have imaged it last February when I previously did the 950 to 1000 series, and it would be very interesting to compare it, but I don't know whether I will take the time to do so because I have a limited amount of time for pulling these images together. NGC 1051 is 2.1 by 1.6 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase m, which is something beyond my knowledge. Have to look it up. 57 million light years distant. Given that size, it's probably somewhere around 25 to 30,000 light years in diameter, a dwarfish galaxy. Its right ascension 2 hours, 41 minutes, 2 seconds, and a declination of -6 degrees, 56 minutes, and 11 seconds. And I do believe it is, I couldn't tell you. Frankly, I'll have to mark off something, get a sense of where things are falling in. But this is supposed to be a magnitude 13.4 galaxy, so it should be quite apparent on the screen. Not too far from NGC 1051 is Galaxy 1052. And wow, it's supposed to be very bright, magnitude 10.5. It's a 2.8 by 2 arc minute sized elliptical galaxy, 65 million light years distant. I believe it to be this one right there. Ellipticals look like very bright and highly condensed globular clusters. It's at right ascension 2 hours, 41 minutes, 4 seconds with a declination of -8 degrees, 15 minutes, and 20 seconds. And that means that the bright thing we were seeing over on the screen in Cetus was probably not the globular cluster. It was one of those fainter, ghostly images further over on the screen. Now we'll have to watch. I may resynchronize the scope to this, pushing it right about there, and then we'll see if everything else lines up with it. Here's where I placed 1052, NGC 1052 on the screen, which meant the coordinates for the Triangulum Galaxy were a bit off because that's where I put the core of the Triangulum Galaxy, or there's a problem with the GoTo tracking this evening. Well, I have to say I got out at a good hour tonight because we're at 41 degrees 30 minutes north declination and we're getting the full aperture of the scope. So getting out at 9 o'clock was the perfect time to track down the NGC 1050 to 1099 series. This is NGC 1053, Galaxy and Perseus. It's also NGC 1040, so we must have imaged it last night as well. It's magnitude 12.9, 1.7 by 0.8 arc minutes lenticular spiral, 224 million light years distant, puts it about the size of our own Milky Way galaxy, roughly 90,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 12 seconds, with the declination, as previously mentioned, of plus 41 degrees, 30 minutes, and odd seconds. Well, this should be a good opportunity to see if the alignment worked out. We're looking at NGC 1054, a galaxy in Aries, magnitude 13.6, kind of small, 0.9 by 0.5 arc minutes. And there's a reason for its apparent size being so small. It is 437 million light years distant, which means it's somewhere around 140,000 light years in diameter. It's a spiral with a lowercase bc. Given its magnitude and distance, this is a very luminous 2.5 times removed galaxy from the lenticulars. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 42 minutes, and 15 seconds with a declination of plus 18 degrees, 13 minutes, and 2 seconds. I do believe, it's kind of hard for me to see it, but I do believe it ended up pretty much where the last galaxy did, although I can't really confirm that at my viewing angle. NGC1055 is a galaxy in Cetus, quite bright, magnitude 10.6. It's a suboblate 7.6 by 3 arc-minutes in size, a spiral with a bar and lowercase b, 44 million light years distant, meaning this is probably about 80,000 light years in diameter. And the centering is actually quite good. Look at that beautiful extension on this 10.6 magnitude galaxy. This is the kind of thing we'd love to see in every imaged galaxy in the NGC catalog, this or better, but that's just not the way it turns out when all you get is about 35, in this case 35 seconds to collect photons and do image stabilization. Now, if you were using imaging that wasn't real time, you'd collect several passes of 5 to 10 minutes each, stack the images, and get fantastic, almost observatory quality images. But this is very, very nice. NGC 1055 is in Cetus, magnitude 10.6, 7.6 by 3 arc-minutes, as I've already mentioned, has a right ascension of 2 hours, 41 minutes, 45 seconds, and is hanging pretty close to the celestial equator at only plus 26 minutes and 32 seconds. A fabulous view. Wish there were more like it. NGC 1056 is a galaxy in Aries, magnitude 12.4, 2.4 by 1.1 arc-minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, 69 million light years distant, puts this one at about 40,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 42 minutes, 48 seconds, with a declination of plus 28 degrees, 34 minutes and 26 seconds. If you think I'm racing through this, there's a reason. I'm going to have to pack in, it looks like at least 40 galaxies and potentially other studies this evening to capture the catalog entries. NGC 1057 is a galaxy in Triangulum, a little north of Aries, magnitude 14.2, 1.2 by 0.8 arc-minute football aspect ratio, lenticular spiral, 256 million light years distant, so it's about 75,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 43 minutes, 2 seconds, with a northerly declination of plus 32 degrees, 29 minutes, and 28 seconds. But you know it'd be northerly because it's in Triangulum. NGC 1058 is another one of those galaxies in Perseus, the hero. Magnitude 11.2, largish, 3.2 by 3.1 face-on spiral with a lowercase c, so the core is probably not all that pronounced. 30 million light years distant, giving it a dwarfish size and probably somewhere around 35,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 29 seconds, with a declination of 37 degrees, 20 minutes, and 27 seconds. Should be a very nice look. 1059 is a star, and 1060 is another galaxy in Triangulum. We'll go there next. GC 1060 is that galaxy in Triangulum, a little bit south of 1059, or 1058, I believe it was. It's brightish, magnitude 11.8, a little bit right about the standard size for a 12th magnitude type galaxy, 2.3 by 1.7 arc-minutes. Wow. It says there's something about a star of magnitude 15.7 associated with it. Peculiar. Haven't seen that before. It's a lenticular spiral, 236 million light years distant, so about the size of Messier 31. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 15 seconds, and declination plus 32 degrees, 25 minutes, and 29 seconds. I'll be curious about that star reference of magnitude 15.7. Nary a click away was NGC 1061, another galaxy in Triangulum, fainter, magnitude 14, 0.9 by 0.6 arc-minutes, so roughly about the size you'd expect, 1 arc-minute size for a magnitude 14 galaxy. It's a spiral, but it's disturbed in some way. 181 million light years distant means it's probably somewhere around 50,000, 60,000 light years in diameter. It's got a right ascension of 2 hours, 43 minutes, 15 seconds, and a declination of plus 32 degrees, 28 minutes, and no seconds. Notice I didn't say odd. Oh, we seem to be caught up in a galaxy group because it was only a couple of clicks away from 1061 to get to NGC 1062. Another galaxy, of course, in Triangulum. This one's much fainter, magnitude 15.5, but I love the aspect ratio 4:1. 1.2 by 0.3 arc minutes. It is located, it's a spiral with lowercase c, 183 million light years distant, meaning it's probably somewhere, excuse me, around 50 to 55,000 light years in diameter. We are at right ascension 2 hours, 43 minutes and 44 seconds with a declination of plus 32 degrees, 29 minutes and 44 seconds. I am not wearing gloves. It is it's probably about 25 degrees out. I am a bit of a hurry in terms of finishing up this series this evening and looking forward to reviewing the imagery thereof. A little bit far south, but still in the sky's middle third, we have NGC 1063, a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14, 1.4 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase bc, so 2.5 times remote, but 409 million light years distant means this baby is probably something about 170,000 light years in diameter, and yet it's right at the tip of my finger. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 42 minutes and 9 seconds with a declination of minus 5 degrees, 34 minutes and 7 seconds. Nice to pick it out, although it looks a bit faintish for a 14th magnitude galaxy. But there is a sense of edgy-onness to it. Our next study is NGC 1064, another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14, 1.1 by 1 arc minute, meaning its average surface brightness is about magnitude 14. It's a spiral with a lowercase c and a ring. I do not expect that ring to be visible. They're usually somewhere around 4.5 magnitudes fainter than the overall magnitude of the galaxy. We are seeing a progression of a satellite or something across the screen there, and it's leaving a trail, which is intriguing, which means it must be atmospheric rather than or being propelled in space. So fascinating, and it just ran right over our galaxy, I do believe. As I said, this is a ringed galaxy, but a little too faint for us to be able to make out at the current settings. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 42 minutes and 23 seconds with a declination of minus 9 degrees, 21 minutes and 46 seconds. So a little bit outside the sky's middle third, but we are getting good views to the south this evening. Adios to the transiting object that just moved through the screen, and hello to NGC 1064. I believe this is NGC 1065. I'll press the button for next. I'll press the button for go to just to see. That's what it is, NGC 1065. Give you the data on it as it develops quickly, because we got a lot of studies to get through in the evening. The galaxy is quite present here, although there may be several others on the screen. NGC 1065, galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14, a little bit smaller, 0.8 by 0.7 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 330 million light years distance, so about 70,000 light years in diameter. It's got a right ascension of 2 hours, 42 minutes, 6 seconds, and a southerly declination of minus 15 degrees, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Screen doesn't look half bad for being that far south. Okay, things are progressing and we're getting pretty close to getting some aperture blocks soon, but maybe not right now with this one. NGC 1066 is a galaxy in Triangulum, magnitude 13.3, 1.7 by 1.6 arc minute, elliptical, 201 million light years distant, means about a size a little bit larger than our own Milky Way. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 43 minutes and 49 seconds with a declination of 32 degrees, 28 minutes and 28 seconds. NGC 1067 appears to be a neighbor of 1066, galaxy in Triangulum, magnitude 13.7, 1.1 by 1 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase c, 206 million light years distant, so probably about 60,000 light years in diameter. It's got a right ascension of 2 hours, 43 minutes, 50 seconds, and a declination of plus 32 degrees, 30 minutes, and 41 seconds. Every once in a while, you get an NGC reference that is also a Messier. This is NGC1068, a galaxy in Cetus. It's also known as Messier 77. Its magnitude 8.9, but very large, 7.3 by 6.3 arc minutes, meaning its average surface brightness is going to be somewhere around magnitude 13. It's a spiral with a lowercase b and peculiarities, 51 million light years distant, which means it's about as large as our own Milky Way, maybe 90 to 100,000 light years in diameter. We are at right ascension, 2 hours, 42 minutes, and 40 seconds, with a declination of only minus 48 seconds. This sweetie is hanging right out on the celestial equator and is giving us a bombshell view of a brilliant barred core with extensions going off towards, I would say, the 10 and the 4 o'clock positions. Beautiful study, Messier 77. Well, folks, for every Messier class galaxy, you're going to probably have to go through 50 to 100 NGC class galaxies. So we just had our view for tonight, unless something else surprising turns up. We're outside the Comma Virgo group, so won't be finding too many Messiers. NGC 1069 is another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14.5, largish, 1.4 by 0.9 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase c. It is also intrinsically large. It is 421 million light years distant, which means it's probably somewhere close to 200,000 light years in diameter. We're at a right ascension of 2 hours, 43 minutes, and a declination of minus 8 degrees, 17 minutes, and 21 seconds. Nice to have seen almost 500 million light years into space. NGC 1070 is another galaxy in Cetus, brightish though, magnitude 11.9, and about the right size, 2.3 by 1.9 arc minute football-shaped spiral with a lowercase b. 183 million light years distant means this one's probably larger than 100,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension, 2 hours, 43 minutes, 22 seconds, with a declination of 4 degrees positive, 58 minutes, and 4 seconds. Enjoy that view. NGC 1071 is a 15th magnitude galaxy in Cetus, 1.2 by 0.5 arc minutes, fairly apparently sized large. It's a spiral with a lowercase a and an annularity or ring. So this baby is spinning pretty quickly and wrapping its spiral arms around its own waist. In addition, it's 512 million light years distant, putting it at about 175,000 light years in diameter. It's at a right ascension of 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 8 seconds, with a declination of minus 8 degrees, 46 minutes, and 28 seconds. Screen looks pretty good up there. Magnitude 15 galaxy. I do believe it's right about there in the middle of the screen. NGC 1072 is another galaxy in Cetus the Whale, magnitude 13.4. 3-to-1 aspect ratio, 1.5 to 0.5, spiral with a bar, lowercase ab, and a ring. A little too faint to be able to make out that ring. On a really, really good night, maybe. 358 million light years distant, means it's about the size of Messier 31, 150,000 light years. We're at right ascension, 2 hours, 43 minutes, 31 seconds, and a declination of plus 18 minutes and 24 seconds. Not too far from NGC 1072 is 1073. Galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 11. Very large for that magnitude, so its light is probably pretty well spread out. Undeveloped galaxy. It's 4.9 by 4.3 arc minute spiral with a bar, but it is a lowercase c, which means relatively immature. 52 million light years distant, has a right ascension of 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 40 seconds, with a declination in the sky's middle third of plus 1 degree, 22 minutes, and 33 seconds. Yep, kind of ghostly, isn't it? NGC1074, another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14, a rather large 2 by 1.3 arc-minute spiral with a lowercase ab. 346 million light years distant. That puts this one roughly at about 200,000 light years in diameter. It's at right ascension 2 hours, 43 minutes, 36 seconds with a declination kind of southerly of minus 16 degrees, 17 minutes, and 49 seconds. I'll allow it to develop a little bit as we push on to NGC 1075. As it turned out, NGC 1075 was only a couple clicks from 1074. Another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 15.8 by 0.6 arc minutes. Spiral with a bar, lowercase lenticular a, so it's about half removed from a fully mature spiral galaxy, 349 million light years distant. It's probably somewhere around 75,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 43 minutes, 33 seconds with a southerly declination of minus 16, 12 minutes, and 5 seconds. Well, we've now turned the corner. We're at NGC 1076. The data is supposed to come up here. I've pushed the enter button. It's a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 13, 2 by 1.1 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase a, 92 million light years distant. It's probably somewhere around 55 to 60,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 29 seconds with a southerly declination of minus 14 degrees, 45 minutes, and 17 seconds. I like to see magnitude 13 galaxies being roughly 2 arc minutes in size. So this one falls into line nicely. All right, we're getting some aperture block on NGC 1077A because it's about 40 degrees north and everything has progressed too far west to be able to image this far north. And I'll give you the data. It's a galaxy in Perseus, magnitude 16, 1.1 by 0.8 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, 398 million light years distant, so pretty large for a magnitude 16 galaxy. It's got a right ascension of 2 hours, 46 minutes, and a declination of plus 40 degrees, 5 minutes, and 23. Because of time constraints, temperature constraints, etc., I will not pursue anything further than 35 degrees north for the rest of this session. Now we're on to NGC 1078. It's a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 15.9 by 0.8 arc minute lenticular spiral, 392 million light years distant, so 100,000 light years in diameter, roughly. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 44 minutes, 8 seconds with a declination of minus 9 degrees, 27 minutes, and 9 seconds. I do see a rather faint little presence right there on the screen. What we have here is a galaxy in Fornax, NGC 1079. Bright, as you can see on the screen, magnitude 11.5, 3.4 by 2.2 arc minutes. Rather complicated morphology. Spiral with a bar, lowercase a, but it is a lenticular and it has a ring. Normally, if it were further north in the sky, we should be able to see the angularity. The galaxy is 65 million light years distant, meaning it's roughly about 55,000 light years in diameter, but it is quite present on the screen. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 43 minutes, 44 seconds with a declination of minus 29 degrees and 12 seconds. A good look, and I sure am glad I came out this evening. NGC 1080 is another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 13.5, 1.1 by 0.8 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase c. 350 million light years distant means this baby's about 100,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 9 seconds with a southerly declination of minus 4 degrees, 42 minutes, 39 seconds. And my feet are getting rather cold even though I am wearing socks. We're now rowing on the river. NGC 1081 is a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 13, 3-to-1 aspect ratio, roughly 1.6 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b, 177 million light years distance, so probably about 75,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 45 minutes and 5 seconds with a declination of minus 15 degrees, 35 minutes and 16 seconds. This galaxy should be a nice test of the seeing, and it is quite visible and it has yet to fully develop. It's NGC1082, another galaxy rolling on the river of Eridanus, magnitude 15.5, 0.9 by 0.7 arc-minute lenticular spiral, 394 million light years distance, so probably somewhere around 105,000 light years in diameter. It has a right ascension of 2 hours, 45 minutes and 41 seconds with a declination of minus 8 degrees, 10 minutes and 50 seconds. And given its presence on the screen, I would wager that that is a magnitude 15.5 in the blue-violet. And since it's a lenticular spiral, its actual visual magnitude is probably somewhere around 14.5. And that makes much more sense given the view. Our next study is NGC1083, another galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 14. Beautiful aspect ratio, 1.6 to 0.3, 5 to 1. Spiral with a lowercase b, 182 million light years distance, so probably about 75,000 light years in diameter. It's at a right ascension of 2 hours, 45 minutes and 40 seconds with a declination of minus 15 degrees, 21 minutes and 27 seconds. And we are getting a clearly edge-on view of a magnitude 14 galaxy located 15 degrees below the celestial equator. We cannot knock the transparency tonight. I got 2 bars left on the camera. Another brilliant galaxy. NGC1084 is in Eridanus, magnitude 10.7, 3.5 by 2.1 arc-minute, spiral with a lowercase c. Look for that core to be spread out rather broadly and diffuse. 62 million light years distant, so probably about 50,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 45 minutes, 59 seconds with a southerly declination of minus 7 degrees, 34 minutes and 38 seconds. Beautiful view. There's another attractive galaxy, this one in Cetus, NGC1085. Magnitude 12.3, 2.4 by 1.7 arc minutes, 2.5 times removed from lenticular, which means it's a BC, of course. 304 million light years distant means it's larger than Messier 31, probably somewhere around 180,000 light years. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 46 minutes, 25 seconds with a declination of plus 3 degrees, 36 minutes and 24 seconds. NGC 1086 was too far north in Perseus. This is NGC 1087, a galaxy in Cetus, bright, magnitude 10.9, largest 3.9 by 2.3 arc minutes. It's a spiral with a bar 3 times removed from the lenticular, and it has a ring, and we should be able to see that ring. 67 million light years distant means it's probably about 75,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 46 minutes, 25 seconds with a slightly southerly declination of minus 29 minutes and 55 seconds. I'll allow this one to develop as I go on to our next study, which will be a 15th magnitude galaxy in Aries. NGC 1088, galaxy in Aries, magnitude 15, largish, 1 by 0.6 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase a, 322 million light years distant. And I'm beginning to notice a correlation between larger apparent size and brightness and distance. Maybe you'll note it too. It's a right ascension 2 hours, 47 minutes, 4 seconds with a declination of plus 16 degrees, 11 minutes and 59 seconds. Our next galaxy again is back down on the river. Okay, NGC 1089 is a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 14.9 by 0.8 arc minutes. It is an elliptical, which tend to be smaller and condensed with lots of faintish, but many faintish stars. 362 million light years distant, puts it at about the size of our own, a little larger than our own Milky Way, maybe 90 to 100,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 10 seconds, but it's got a southerly declination of minus 15 degrees, 4 minutes, and 25 seconds. NGC1090 is another galaxy in Cetus the Whale. Brightish, though, magnitude 11.8, and largest, 3.9 by 1.8 arc minutes. Spiral with a bar in lowercase bc, 123 million light years distant, puts this somewhere around 125,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 33 seconds, with a declination of minus 14 minutes and 50 seconds, almost smack on the celestial equator. A galaxy to be shared both north and south of the Earth's equator. NGC1091 is another galaxy rowing on the river of Eridanus, magnitude 14.1, 0.9 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar in lowercase a, so it should have some condensation towards the core, 392 million light years distant. We have a right ascension of 2 hours, 45 minutes, 22 seconds, but a southerly declination of minus 17 degrees, 32 minutes, and 1 second. We need to move on. It is cold, and we still have those 2 bars on the camera, however. Possibly sharing the field with NGC1091 is 1092, another galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 13.4, 0.9 by 0.8 arc minute elliptical, 389 million light years distant. So this is probably a little bit larger than our own Milky Way, but it's an elliptical, a very mature galaxy. Right ascension 2 hours, 45 minutes, 29 seconds, with a declination of minus 17 degrees, 32 minutes, and 32 seconds. We're now going to head north to Triangulum at plus 34 degrees. Let's see if we can get the full aperture of the scope on it. Well, we didn't get that much aperture of the scope on it, so now I'm going to start limiting myself to 30 degrees. This is NGC 1093. I'm poking in the attributes catalog reference now. NGC 1093 is a galaxy in Triangulum, magnitude 13.1, 1.8 by 1.1 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase ab, 241 million light years distance, so it's probably about 105,000 light years in diameter, has a right ascension of 2 hours, 48 minutes, 16 seconds, and a declination of plus 34 degrees, 25 minutes, and 10 seconds. And you're not likely to see much of this. I will not be going any further north than plus 30 degrees henceforth. Here we have NGC 1094, another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 12.5, 1.3 by 1 arc minute, maybe a little small for a 12th magnitude galaxy, spiral with a bar in lowercase ab, but it is 287 million light years distant, meaning it's probably about 80,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 2 hours, 47 minutes, and 27 seconds, with a slightly southerly declination of minus 17 minutes and 6 seconds. We got another galaxy in Cetus coming up. NGC 1095 is another galaxy, as I mentioned, in Cetus, magnitude 13.3, about the right size, 1.3 by 0.8 arc minute, spiral with a bar in lowercase c, so its light is pretty well spread out, although it has a bar. 286 million light years distant, means it's probably around 80,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 47 minutes, 37 seconds, but a northerly declination of plus 4 degrees, 38 minutes, and 14 seconds. We will be going deep south to Fornax next. Okay, here we are in Fornax at minus 30 degrees, 16 minutes, and 28 seconds. I'll bet you can pick out what our study is, however. NGC 1097 is a galaxy in Fornax, magnitude 9.5. It's 9.4 by 6.6 arc minutes in size, well spread out, spiral with a bar and a lowercase b. A mere 54 million light years distant, but that doesn't mean it's small. This baby is probably somewhere around 160,000 light years in diameter, and for being so close, that's impressive. We're at right ascension 2 hours, 46 minutes, 19 seconds, and a declination of minus 30 degrees, 16 minutes, and 28 seconds. And that galaxy is pretty much popping up there, and you can see its extensions. Amazing for minus 30 degrees. Let me go ahead and allow it to develop a little bit more. Apparently it has a neighbor. I'm going to just go ahead and punch in, and let's see how much it hops. Nope. No, I think we just lost control of the scope. That gives you an example of what does happen occasionally. Okay, watch this develop. This is NGC1097A, and it's also in Fornax. I'll give you the data in a second. You should be seeing 1097 as well on the screen, I do believe. NGC 1097A is a galaxy in Fornax, and yes, we can see 1097 there as well. It's faint, magnitude 13.6, so about a 4 magnitude difference. This one's also about a tenth the size, 0.8 by 0.5 arc minutes. However, it is an elliptical class 5. Given its size at 59 million light years distance, this is a galaxy neighbor to 1097 that has probably interacted and has had to surrender a lot of its cold dark matter to its neighbor, stripping it down to its core, which made it an elliptical 5. We're at right ascension 2 hours 46 minutes 9 seconds with a declination of minus 30 degrees, 13 minutes and 43 seconds. Let's see what's next as it develops. There is a 1098, but it's in Eridanus. Let's move on to it. NGC 1098 is a 12.6 magnitude galaxy in Eridanus, 1.7 by 1.3 arc minutes, so we're in the middling of its apparent size. Spiral of lenticular class. However, it is 333 million light years distant, meaning it's about 150,000 light years in diameter, and that is the size of Messier 31. Right ascension is 2 hours 44 minutes 53 seconds with a declination of minus 17 degrees 39 minutes and 34 seconds. I got 1 bar left on the camera as we get prepared to go to NGC 1090. NGC 1099 was barely a click away. It's another galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 13.1, 1.9 by 0.6 arc minutes. Spiral with a bar at lowercase b, 340 million light years distant, so roughly 200,000 light years in diameter. Its right ascension is 2 hours 45 minutes 17 seconds with a declination of minus 17 degrees 42 minutes and 31 seconds. We have now completed the 1050 to 1099 series, and we skipped nary an NGC, so we covered maybe 45 galaxies. What I'm going to do now is go ahead to the next most interesting galaxy in the 1100 series, and that will be our Carpe Noctem view, while I still have 1 bar left on the screen. If the battery runs out, Carpe Noctem.